Oh, Democrats are not allowing their base to organically elect the candidate they want. Color me shocked. Okay. I mean, let's face it, Bernie Sanders and the Democrats, Bernie and the Democrats are clearly showing that they are, now they're wondering, oh, how do we rebrand ourselves? But see, all this rebranding, all what it's doing for me is just reminding me of 2016 and all the failed attempts to do this. And so this was an interesting conversation to have. So let's go and play it, because I just like people now having these conversations again. And I'm like, where were all of you from the beginning?
The Democratic establishment, whether you like it or not, have not fairly allowed its constituents to democratically elect their person for
last
president.
time they did it was 08.
It's 12 years ago.
Yeah, I think President
12
Obama
years
last
ago.
organic one, because
Stop calling Trump this autocrat oligarch who's trying to seize power when you have not allowed your constituents.
Well, two things can be true.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is maybe stop only doing that.
Yes.
As if you have not allowed us to elect our person for president for 12 years.
What's so interesting about what that is, I think Obama, as far as Democrats are concerned, was the last time that the people said, nah, that's the guy we want. And Republicans, it was Trump.
100%.
People was like, yo, that would like it or love it. The people was like, that's the guy we want.
And that's democracy. But what Bernie was saying is basically like, there are these people that are control the party and they don't want to relinquish their power, and they will do whatever it takes to maintain that power. And I think a lot of
they're doing it again right now.
What are they doing?
I don't know if Bernie realized it or not, because Bernie said on his podcast, he said on Flagrant that, you asked him if he was going to run again. He was like, I'm 83. Like, that's not going to happen. But there's people.
Yeah, well, Bernie's 80 years old, like past 80 at this point. What more do you want Bernie Sanders to do? At this point, that guy is no, he should not be running again for office. It's done. Bernie had his chance in 2016, and dare I say it, his final chance in 2020. Okay, that was it for Bernie. Bernie chose not to fight against the Democrats. Bernie chose to make that decision, and Bernie Sanders chose not to do the right thing. Okay, and in his choices, it has cost him so much. So, in turn, I would say to people, especially to young people who want to try and reform the Democrats, what's wrong with you at this point? Don't you realize that you can't reform something that doesn't want to be reformed? Democrats don't care. Democrats don't care. They don't care about your feelings. They don't care if you were proven correct. I mean, anytime we called out the Democrats, we were told that we were liars. I mean, how many times have you seen people in independent media being dismissed?
That are watching the crowds that him and AOC are commanding right now. And you can see the organic groundswell that's happening. And there's already pushback as if he's going to run again in 2020. It's already people putting it out there like, no, he can't have any more old white men, run for president. Like, they're already putting that out there. I'm like, y'all making the same mistake again.
Same mistake.
Do I think Bernie is going to run in 2028? No, because of age.
Yeah.
But when I say making the same mistake, once again, you're getting in the way of people and their organic wants. You're getting in the way of people and their organic needs. They're saying, this is what we want. Now, it don't have to be Bernie, but it can be the embodiment of what Bernie believes in, the embodiment of what AOC believes in. Clearly, that's what people want.
But the establishment doesn't want that, because then they have to stop, letting pharmaceutical companies do whatever the fuck they want. They have to stop letting healthcare companies do whatever the fuck they want. They have to stop the military-industrial complex from pushing us into wars that we don't want. And the Democrats are 100% willing to do it. There was a question I wanted to ask Bernie, but essentially it's like, is the difference between the Democrats and Republicans this? It's like, they both want money from big pharma. They both want money from these billion-dollar corporations. They both are willing to accept control. And then the Democrats are just like, let people use whatever bathroom they want. Is that the only difference?
I think the difference is Democrats act like there's something they're not.
Right. And now people
Democrats do all of those things you just said.
And then when we see through it, people go, oh, you're just some fucking right-wing maniac. It's like, oh, is that the case? Is everybody who disagrees with you a right-wing maniac?
That's why they virtue signal so much. They virtue signal.
Yes, and I've heard this before from a lot of people who virtue signal a lot about the Democrats. Okay, the Democrats, especially in the vote blue, no matter who industrial complex, are quick to say to you that, oh, just because you don't agree with our choices, you must be X, Y, and Z. You're a Trump supporter. Oh, you must be a bad guy, huh? You don't like our choice? Oh, you're going to support third parties? Oh, you're a secret Trump supporter. Oh, you don't like this candidate? Oh, that must mean you're racist, sexist, misogynist, all these things. What could go wrong?
So to distract you from the fact we're doing the same shit. We're just doing.
So you're just using those communities that you say you care about.
Yeah.
You're using those communities that you say you care about as a smokescreen so you could keep on taking the same money from Big Pharma, to keep on taking the same money from the healthcare companies, keep on taking the same money from the military companies. Like, stop the bullshit. The internet is available to people. We can Google things. You can't lie like you could before with the protection of a corporate media.
That's right.
Oh, no, you can still lie because now you have the protection of online establishment media, because corporate media has wiggled and wormed and slimed its way into our neck of the woods. Okay. Now there is the pushback, and I have to say, again, huge shout out to Case Study QB. This is very cute. It's very cute seeing people push back. Look, young people trying to get involved in the Democrat Party. Like, okay. I feel like an old man now. Don't do it. Don't do it, honey child. I don't know. I don't think I could do this anymore, man. With the people constantly making the same mistakes over and over again. It's like, I've seen this before.
Number is just fallen off the cliff for Democrats.
It's a nationwide fight.
But our generation refuses to back down
Over the future of the Democratic Party.
The dangers of older leaders staying in office too long.
One organization pledging $20 million to help younger Democrats push incumbents out of safe House seats, while at least 4 younger primary opponents have launched campaigns to do the same. Democratic candidate Kat Abu-Ghazaleh is running in the Democratic primary for Illinois' 9th congressional district. Thank you. And wants to be.
And look, here's the thing. Kat from Kit over here, I wish you all the best in this fight. And I hope that you can bring in change. It's just that I've seen this before. Oh God in heaven, I've seen this before, and I would love to be wrong, all right? But I just don't think that the Democrat Party is really going to embrace all this change, because they've made it clear. Look what they're trying to do to David Hogg, okay? And look, hey, David Hogg, I think you're wasting your energy in the Democrat Party, but good luck. I'm looking at the tombstone, the graves of Justice Democrats, brand new Congress, our revolution, and yes, including DSA, because I've seen them try this 8 years. And any attempt to reform the Democrats failed. And when we asked these squad members, at the time, the new wave of Democrats, when we asked them for forced to vote, they didn't show up.
Part of that generational change.
People talk about age. I think it's more about experiences. Most of our Congress didn't go through school shootings as a kid. They don't have to worry about out-of-pocket costs. They probably own their homes.
A recent Harvard poll shows just 23% of young Americans approve of congressional Democrats' job performance, a number that's dropped by nearly half since 2020. But some political experts warn that changing Congress itself is easier said than done for both parties.
It's harder to raise money. It's harder to get key endorsements. It's just harder to convince voters to trust you. You're going to have to work extra hard to get your message out there and to convince voters that you're competent, capable, and going to do a good job.
Still, many voters are hungry for change.
We need young people. You know, I'm a boomer, and look what we've created.
Which is why Abu-Ghazaleh is leveraging her viral fame with nearly 30 million views across social media for her commentary on conservative politics.
What if we didn't suck?
To build what she calls a different style of political campaign.
For our fundraising this quarter, for instance, we have a goal of $600,000. And if we hit it, we're not raising a cent more than that. Every dollar after that gets donated to local charities.
So you're going to stop and you will accept no more money.
That's very honorable. But in Illinois, oh my God, maybe I'm becoming too cynical. Okay, then I apologize. If this comes off as just too harsh, then it's not meant to be that way. But in Illinois, you need every single red cent you can get. Okay, this state is very notorious for votes disappearing. Okay, do I have to tell everyone the coverage that TYT did in the 2018 midterm election cycles, where there was one election in particular that was happening in Illinois, and it was a time when Jimmy and Cenk were still very good with each other. You know, it was 2018, I believe. Yeah, it was 2018 midterm election cycle, but doy. And what happened was there was a progressive challenger against the incumbent Democrat, and as Cenk and Jimmy were looking at the votes, all of a sudden there was a drastic cut of votes for the progressive challenger at the time. And Cenk, being shocked, was like, oh my goodness, what happened to the votes? And Jimmy, very casually, like any Chicagoan would, said, oh yeah, no, that happens in Illinois all the time. Votes disappear. That happens. That happens. That happens in this state. And if you really want to challenge it, there's a huge legal process. And that's the thing I want to tell these young progressive Democrats. Okay, good luck to you in this fight. I'm not going to tell you not to do it because you know what? I didn't, in the 2024 election cycle, I did not tell anyone how to vote. If you want to vote Democrat, Republican, third party, or not vote at all, the choice is yours. But for these new wave Democrats that are coming in that want to challenge the establishment, every red penny counts. Because if you don't take this seriously, they will demolish you. And Illinois, it isn't a rumor. It's a solid fact. The Democrat machine will cut you up, crush you, and not give a second thought.
Yep. What else are you doing differently? What are you doing to sort of change the system? Politics as usual.
All of our campaign sponsored events are accessible no matter your income. And our entry fee was a box of tampons or pads, which are donated to Chicago's Period Collective. We want a lot of our events to help with mutual aid and community initiatives. Politicians choose to not spend their money this way. They could be doing this the entire time.
Fresh ideas for a party where many are frustrated.
Do you think that the Democratic Party specifically, or American politicians more generally?
I would say to Chanda, listen to me very carefully. Sorry, not Chanda. Sorry. I was told that today is her birthday, by the way. Sorry, I said Chanda. I would say to Kat, listen, if you're going to, I've been watching the chat, so don't worry. I'm going to give a shout out to Chanda for it because today's her birthday. I would say to Kat, very clearly. All right. If you want to talk about mutual aid, I would recommend you reach out to the people at Revolutionary Blackout Network. Talk to them about mutual aid. There's a lot of people who you should be reaching out to. And being with the Democrats, you're inviting disaster.
You need to see younger candidates.
Absolutely.
Why?
100%. Because the world has changed drastically, and we need to have people that are representative of those changes to stand up for the future that they're building.
So currently, Kat is running in an open field where 4 other primary opponents have filed thus far. In a statement, one of her challengers, State Senator Laura Fine, pointed out that Abu Ghazali is not from the Chicago area and just moved there less than a year ago, adding in part, quote, "This moment requires someone who didn't just show up and has the guts and experience to take on Donald Trump and his MAGA cronies." Now, the other primary candidates did not respond to NBC News by deadline. And for her part, Kat does argue that her family has roots in Chicago. It was the first place her father moved when he immigrated from the Middle East. And she also says her district includes immigrant and student populations, all new to the city, just like her, John.
And again, good luck to her in the wars to come. But there's also another thing here, too, that I want to pull up. So, again, huge shout out to Case Study QB. Follow him on all of his social media.
But we have seen this larger push and pull within the Democratic Party, especially after the 2024 election, especially now in light of these books. This idea of a generational divide, the push and pull between younger members who want more power and leadership that does things by seniority. Do you get the sense that the scale is tipping in favor of the young folks who want more?
They're getting louder, I think, right? Like they're not gaining as much power as they want, but they're getting louder and their numbers are growing. And I think when you have the numbers growing, their frustration that people that are like in the system, and then you have the folks outside of the system looking at the Democratic Party with disdain, a lot of folks, right? They have those very low numbers in the American public and all this polling. And so those two things meeting kind of gives that newer generation a chance that they haven't had before, which is to try and take over the party. The problem is you have those folks at the top who are not looking to give away their power. So that tension is going to play out for weeks and weeks and months and years and years.
Very exciting for all of us who live to cover it. Eugene Daniels, have a great show this weekend. We'll be watching. Thank you for stopping by with us.
So, what to take away from this? A lot of you I know are going to say like, oh, well, they're wasting their time. You know what? If these younger Democrats want to do this and they learn the lesson the hard way, fine. I don't want that to happen. Here's the thing. If they're really sincere and actually fighting, great. But I just know that a party that is willing to roll over David Hogg Fine. All right. And David Hogg, he's a vice chair, but they want to get rid of him. I don't know. Cenk Uygur's rebellion pack. Good luck. All right. Really good luck with that. And then the Fight the Oligarchy tour. Look, Bernie Sanders, he's now saying, oh, yeah, Democrats rig primaries. Well, I remember doing all my interviews, and every single Democrat candidate I've interviewed is like, yeah, no. We're being screwed over. So good luck. All the best. But you have to break away from this mindset and think you could reform something that does not embrace reform. I mean, the Democrat Party willingly put up with and promoted President Joe Biden, whose brain was melting and deteriorating before our very eyes. How many times have the Democrats went to bat for the old guard? And while, yes, the machine is struggling, what makes you think they're going to pick progressives? Because the Democrats want people who play ball. And money talks in Washington, D.C., and the bullshit walks.
If you fool me once, it's because I didn't think a guard was needed. If you fool me twice, it's because I didn't learn the lesson, so it bears repeating. If you try the same play 3 times running, it's because you know what's coming, and you didn't come to lead, you came to purposefully be misleading. Democracy is dry. It's been a century bleeding. The husk is gaping open to the sky, out in the field where all the sheep just keep on circling and worrying and bleeding. They're waiting for the shepherd that they've tried to hide their faith in, but he's so appealing. They'd gladly give their fleece. It's such a freeing feeling that even when he leads them to the ledge and starts to urge them on, they're positively beaming. They were told that they were on their way to save democracy, so even as they plummet, they just gloat. They don't consider screaming. And halfway up the cliff, the shepherd's cozy little mittens wrap around the staff of shattered human hopes on which he's leaning. He shows the gentle grin that used to stir your inner spark, and he says, not me, us, as he gestures to the oligarchs. He knows that if he runs, they're going to stop him like a stolen car. And he'll easily surrender because it bought a lot of time for laying mines in all the grassroots. Suddenly, the tiniest of movements gets you blown apart. Suddenly, you're in a play that's set on an election day and voting for the fire, unaware you're playing Joan of Arc. Suddenly, the shepherd pulls the rug and slips a hood across your clueless mug, and everything goes zero dark. I'm gonna warn you once more before it's 2024 and you fuck around and find out who your heroes are. To take a step back from the herd, and you'll learn that you can spot who all the shearers are. If you really want to know the product that they're selling, I can take you where the mirrors are. If you think your voice is finally ready, I can tell you where the lyrics are. I hid them in a box I had to bury neath the cobble when they carpet bombed the promenade and raided all the street bazaars. Now all we've got's the marketplace, and you're too broke to even bother asking what the options for your treatment are. Suddenly, the raw debris of homeless human dignity will find it has 100 teeth for every badge and sweeper's arm. Suddenly, they speak in solidarity and each is armed. Suddenly, the sheep can see the shepherd for his truest form and all pitch in at once to help him buy the farm. And now it's zero dark, and all is calm and peaceful save the distant wail of sirens that approach beside the flames of dawn. Suddenly, the carrot's just a string that's on a stick, and all your movements make you sick because the prize is gone. Now, we could go and flee into the forest low and meek, or we could exercise our right to feast and go and graze on Biden's lawn. Because he's been sowing seeds that seep a toxin out to sap a bit from each of us and keep on leaching decades after Biden's gone. So regardless who they summon out of hell to come and do the job, it will not feel like Biden's gone. But in that time of hopelessness, you cannot trust the shepherd when he once again comes asking you to humor him his siren song. And it's cute that you can innocently, honestly assume that's just a symptom of a system that was wired wrong, and not the standard feature, basic function, primary objective of a mass hypnosis firebomb. You don't need to know the words to cry along. Someday it'll hit you like an officer who pistol whipped their ride along. Broke his jaw and kept his job and kept it moving right along. That voting isn't red or blue or black or white or right or wrong. Voting's like a firing squad where you can choose the firearm. It's slow extinction by and large. It's Super Tuesday supercharged. It's all your futures, roots and all, just tossed out on a garbage barge. It's everybody dropping out to push the biggest oligarch. It's everybody voting fire, registered as Joan of Arc.